Now, can you imagine this for a moment? It's probably worlds away from what you're doing right now, but you're on top of the cliffs at West Cape Howe. About 40 minutes west of Albany on the coastline, absolutely stunning views of the rugged coastline. There are waves crashing at the foot of the rocks. There's white water everywhere. There are strong winds blowing that salty water, spraying your face, all in your hair. It's a pretty powerful force. And then you look down at your feet. It's a good 60 to 80 metre drop. And then you take a step out of the cliff, walking on a tightrope, where every step could be the one where I fall. But you walk onto a wire, your hands are spread out like wings on a plane for balance, and then you start to walk, one foot in front of the other, until you get to the other side. Piece of cake. It's madness to some, a thrill and an art form to others. People have done it before, and last weekend a group of thrill seekers took to West Cape Howe to give it another go, and there to capture it was photographer Jeremy Shepherd. Morning, Jeremy.
G'day, how are you?
Yeah, well, so you went with a bunch of mates to undertake this. How would you describe what it's like before you set out on that wire? I know you don't actually do it, but what goes through people's minds and their bodies before they take that first step?
Well, I've climbed with my best friend for probably the last 3 years, and I've never seen him scared. But this particular Tuesday, when he set out, it's the first time I've seen him absolutely terrified, and he was like gripping the webbing as he's trying to go out and trying to talk himself into it. And he was saying to his girlfriend, "Oh, I'm not sure about this." And he managed to overcome his fear by slowly like stepping on the webbing. Now, this webbing is only about 20 millimeters wide. Like, it's pretty hard to balance if you're 2 meters off the ground, let alone 80 meters up in the air, and you got the ocean underneath you. And I had a few other friends that went out on this 115 meter line, and it was just thrilling just to be able to capture those moments. And as the sun was setting, like some of the walls that I was like shooting photos from, like some of them were almost 100 meters high. And the sea spray, it was so windy that the sea spray was just shooting straight up the walls, and I had to clean my lens. And it's one of the wildest places I've ever seen in my lifetime. And I've travelled the world, and yeah, West Cape Howe is definitely something special.
Well, we should say people do have supports here, so if they do fall, of course they're captured because they're secured onto the line. So despite the fear factor, you talked about your friend there, for example, why is it that they do it? Why do they continue to think this is something I want to try and go through with and complete?
There's something really thrilling with trying to overcome your fear. Like, once you have all those thoughts in the back of your mind and you move past that point and go, no, I know this is 100% safe, I can do this. It's very liberating. I personally, I'll never forget the moment I tried to rappel down the big walls of West Cape Howe, and I had a moment where my hands just clamped onto the ropes and I couldn't go down, and I was just like, the fear just became too much, and I had to come back and then do it again another day. Like, it's yeah, to some it looks like complete madness, but to us it's a thrilling experience.
Now, you're a wedding photographer, Jeremy, so you're used to having lots of gear on you and having to be running around quite a lot. But when you are in an environment like that, where there is terrain like that, what's it like for you as a photographer? You mentioned you're a climber as well, so not just standing on the edge of the rock shooting some pics, you're actually getting out in a bit, aren't you?
Yeah, so we had rigged the 115 metre line. We'd finished by 5:30, and then the guys started walking along it. Now, this moment you kind of dream as a photographer. The sun was setting. It was a perfect golden light, and I was like, okay, I've got this 30-minute window here to capture this in as many different angles as I can. And where I was running to along the cliffs, I was wearing a harness and I had a tether, and I would hook myself into the bolts and then shoot a few photos and then quickly unhook myself and then move to the next place. And my friends were all laughing, going, "Oh, you were running around like a madman, and I was like, oh, these moments in life, like you dream of, like of the perfect setting, the guys that are walking the line, and yeah, you never get that moment back. So I just tried my hardest to capture it and do the beautiful place justice.
I've got less than, sorry Jeremy to cut you off, I've got less than a minute before the news here, but I did just want to ask you, because I know you have such an appreciation for this environment and the outdoors, what do you love about it? What takes your breath away every time you do see that part of WA, just briefly?
I think because it's so untouched, and the 4 days we were there was nobody around, and it's rare that you can be in such a beautiful place and have it all to yourself, not one tourist, nothing for 4 days straight. Like it's just a stunning part of the world, and I actually want to move down to Albany and settle up. So
Yeah, well,
I just think you're in God's country, really.
You'll be joining plenty of other people who have decided to make that move from Perth, Jeremy. I can hear it, genuine appreciation for this part of the state. Thank you for coming on and sharing a bit of what that's like to try and capture people slacklining at West Cape Howe last weekend. Yeah, you've got to have guts, that's for sure. 7:30.